Welcome to the Exam Study Expert Podcast, helping you ace your exams at school and university through the psychology of high performance and the science of studying smarter, not harder. It's my pleasure to introduce your host, the Cambridge-trained memory psychologist and exam success coach, William Wadsworth.
Hello and welcome to episode 99 of the Exam Study Experts podcast. Today is going to be all about finding your why, inspiring you today and helping you build a lasting sense of purpose that can underpin everything you do in your studies and perhaps in life generally. I'm talking to you today from my bathroom because we have a little bit of building work going on upstairs in my normal office/podcasting room. So hopefully the towels I've put up around the room help deaden the echo and we get a good audio today. So I was inspired to do this episode by some group teaching that I was doing yesterday with a really inspirational group of young men and women I was working with from a relatively deprived area of London. They were in year 13, as we say in the UK, which is the equivalent of being a senior in high school. We were doing an exercise called the Why Brainstorm, essentially coming up with a list of reasons why exam success matters to you. I talked about the Why Brainstorm technique back in episode 55. Essentially, it's really simple. You take a sheet of paper and try and come up with a list of 5 to 10 reasons why study success matters to you. And part of the way the exercise works is that probably the first 1 or 2 reasons you come up with might be kind of obvious to you, but you've got to dig a little bit deeper to flesh out your list. And as you dig a little bit deeper, you often come up with some more powerful, more profound reasons as you go deeper down. And the importance of all this? Well, as David Heiner said in our recent Ambitions series, it all starts with why, doesn't it? Because with a big enough why, any how becomes possible. And recently, I've been hearing so many great answers to the question, why study, from yesterday's workshop and elsewhere. I thought it would be a really nice opportunity to share a few of those really strong reasons with you, partly to help inspire you today, and possibly to give you some ideas for finding or deepening your own sense of purpose in your own studies. So, if you're partway along your academic journey, a very common why might be about getting to the next stage. So this is getting the grades you need for a certain college or university offer, or to get you into that postgraduate program you've been eyeing up. Zooming out a little, career prospects is another really common why. A solid educational background is a prerequisite for so many well-paying and rewarding careers, whether that career is directly linked to a specific qualification, like getting your engineering degree or your veterinary sciences degree so you can go and become an engineer or a vet, or whether that's more simply about having a solid set of educational credentials, which don't necessarily have to be in a specific field, to help launch your career in, say, the business world. Someone in the workshop yesterday said her why was money. Absolutely no shame in having that as your why, by the way. Let's be honest, the absence of money can be quite painful if you can't afford essentials like food and shelter. And having a little more money can help make your life that much more comfortable. But money is really only a tool to do other things with. So I pressed that student to go deeper, ask why again. So why is money important to you? What can it get you? Her slightly tongue-in-cheek response was shoes, which made us grin a bit at the time. But, look, if a great collection of amazing footwear is going to help you feel great when you dress for each day and when you're out and about, then hey, I'd say own that desire. Absolutely. Someone else was talking about money in the context of how it would help them look after their future family. Now, I don't know for certain what the background of this young man that brought this point up was, but if you've grown up in a family that struggled with finances, the thought of being able to provide for your family when you in turn take on the mantle of parenthood, gosh, that's got to be such an incredibly powerful why. Now, if you're already in a career, then you might be facing exams to get to the next stage of your career. In my private coaching work, I work with a lot of medical professionals, for example, and a lot of the time for these sorts of individuals, the why is super clear. As one recent new client put it when they reached out to me, I am determined to take this exam and be able to move up in my career to better support my family. Really simple, really powerful. But there's often also a feelings element. So how will passing your exams make you feel? Passing and doing well in your exams at any stage of life, whether you're at school, university, or a professional, can make you feel proud, can give you a massive and lasting high, especially if they were tough exams that were a bit of a stretch for you. And on the flip side, you want to perhaps avoid the feelings of disappointment and maybe frustration that can come with not getting the results you want. A social dimension comes in here too. In the context of professionals, often you're understandably anxious to avoid the embarrassment of failing exams in front of your peers. The same can often be true at school and university as well. You want to be respected by your friends. One of the students at yesterday's workshop also talked about the sort of social dimension, how other people will see his results, and how for him, one of his whys was the desire to make his family proud through how he was doing well in school and at exams. I really liked that component. That same young man went on to offer another why from his list, which I liked even more. And this one was about how he wanted to be a good role model for his siblings. A good role model for your younger brothers and sisters. How potent is that? You're bettering yourself, you're lifting yourself up. But not only that, by lifting yourself up, you show others they can lift themselves up too. I was reminded when I was thinking back on this of a quote that I came across in a basketball movie. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called Coach Carter. It's a really good movie. I really like it. And when I looked up the quote just now, I discovered it was originally from a book called A Return to Love by Marianne Williamson, which has sold over 1 million copies around the world. So quite a well-known book to many people. The quote is as follows. I think it's really powerful. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. And as we let our own lights shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. I love that. I was revisiting some of the introductory material on my meditation app, Headspace, the other day. They were asking you to think about your why for meditation to help you ingrain meditation as a daily habit. And they were in particularly encouraging of thinking about how your goal for meditating, whether it's better productivity, focus, better emotional health, more even temper, whyever you're meditating, think about how that will impact other people. Because that can often lead to an even deeper and more potent sense of purpose than only thinking about the impact on you. By the way, my review of Headspace is now up at examstudyexpert.com/headspace if you're interested in starting a meditation habit for yourself. Now, last year, I emailed Exam Study Expert listeners to ask what your motivations to study all were. So as we work towards a close for this episode, I wanted to share a few of my favourite responses from that email. My why is to be more articulate and formidable. My why is to become an expert in my subjects. I want better career options, to make my parents proud, to build resilience through hardship and learning new things, plus a little bit of showing off my results. That last little bit was in brackets. All really great points. Building resilience. Wow, yeah, I loved that one. My why is to have the feeling of confidence ready when I sit my exams and to know that I will be able to answer all the questions to the best of my ability because I've studied well for them. Projecting ahead to that future you, how will you feel on exam day? That sense of confidence, looking ahead to that. I want to be independent and to support my family financially as my parents sacrificed so much for me to get the best there is. And now when they are getting older, I want them to rest now. I want to take on the responsibility myself. And I think this final one comes probably from a professional, that I don't want to look stupid in front of a client, not knowing or not having an idea of what they're talking about. A little aside, if you don't get my nice emails and you would like to, you go to examstudyexpert.com/join, JOIN, as in join in, and you can sign up and get a nice cheat sheet summarising some of my favourite study tips to welcome you to the emails. So folks, what's your why? If you haven't thought about this before, or if you haven't thought about it in a while, this might be a good time to take a look at your list, rewrite your list, or write your list for the first time. As you're doing so, I'd encourage you to go a level deeper, asking yourself why for a second time on a given reason, as we talked about with the money example above. So why do you want the money? And also, think not only about what exam success means for you personally, but also think about that dimension of how it impacts others, as in that example of making your parents proud, or in the example of being a good role model, or in the example of being able to provide for your family in future. I was reflecting on this question of why in my own life. What are my drivers for running Exam Study Expert? That's the big focus of my life. And in particular, since becoming a father last year, one of my strongest whys is to look after and provide for my family. I want to be able to pay the bills and keep a roof over our heads. But I also want to be able to afford to, make great memories together through some occasional treats and adventures. And now I have a little team to support what we do here at Exam Study Expert. Kerry, who leads a lot of our blogging work, and Alex, who now leads on a lot of the school speaking work, as well as the coaching for our younger school-age clients. And so now I'm driven to make sure that the business can provide for them, and that together we can all have the biggest impact on helping people study smarter and ace their exams, which has always been our mission, always underpinned everything we've done. Helping you ace your exams wherever in the world you are, whatever you're studying. A few parish notices before I wrap this episode up for today. So, as you may have noticed, we're about to hit 100 episodes of the Exam Study Expert podcast. I've got a couple of nice surprises up my sleeve for next week, the 100th episode, but I'm also going to throw a little party next week to celebrate. Not just any party, an Ace Your Exams planning party. I know, how exciting. But what exactly is an Ace Your Exams planning party, I hear you ask? I've never been to one of those before. Well, let me explain. This will be a special workshop, which I'll be hosting live on Zoom, where we get to hang out together and start to answer the question, well, now that we've got our why, now you've got your strong why in place, then now how are we going to make that a reality? And in particular, thinking, are there any obstacles that are standing in our way? And if so, what are they and how are we going to demolish them? I'll be leading you through a fun little exercise I've been using for a while now called the Wheel of Studying. It's something I came up with a while back, where you give yourself a series of ratings on different elements of your overall study system. And you're going to get a nice little visualization out of it for yourself on where things are going well for you in your overall study system, and perhaps which aspects could use a little bit more work. And then, having got clear on what specific obstacles we want to work on, we're then going to use the Disney creative process to hone in on exactly what you could do about it and come up with a nice concrete plan for change and helping make things better, or even better if they're already going well. The process works for everyone, so it doesn't matter whether you're feeling a bit hopeless about studying and feel you've got a really long way to go, a huge mountain ahead, or whether you're feeling pretty super confident and it's all under control. I can help you wherever you fall on that spectrum. On the far end, I've yet to meet someone who doesn't have at least some room for improvement. I don't care how much of a study whiz you are, whether you've listened to every episode of this podcast and read all the books, there's always an extra edge you can find. In fact, that's the thing about elite performers generally, in any field. They're always looking to up their game, whether they're elite athletes, world-beating entrepreneurs, celebrated musicians or writers, whatever. They're always looking for the next little edge to take their already phenomenally high standards to the next level. And if you're all the way down the other end of the spectrum and feeling hopelessly stuck, I want to reassure you that there is hope, I promise. I've seen it so many times. Things can get better for you, and the Ace Your Exams planning party and the exercises we work through should be a really great place to get started and get moving and start to help you make some real progress. So We'll be going live on Zoom on Wednesday, March 22nd, 2023. So that's this Wednesday, if you're listening, the day this is broadcast, or the next couple of days. Wednesday, 22nd of March. That's going to be at 7:15 p.m. In the evening, UK time. Or if you're on Eastern time, it's 3:15. If you're on Pacific time, it's 12:15. And if you are in Australia, for much of you anyway, it's 6:15 a.m. in the morning on the following date, Thursday the 23rd. This is a ticketed event, but I have kept the rates as low as possible because I want to make sure as many people as possible can come and plan and party and hang out with us on Wednesday. Now, rates for doing live stuff with me tend to start from around $120 an hour for private coaching, but I'm going to allow tickets to go on sale for the Ace Your Exams planning party for a mere $9. So the tickets are going to be $9 to get your seat to the planning party. How good is that? You pay more than that for a sandwich at the airport. And at the planning party, you're going to get a whole dose of inspiration, clarity, and practical plans to help you find a smarter way to study for your exams. A replay is going to be included in the price of the tickets if you can't make it live, or if you just want to revisit the exercise on demand a second or third time in the months and years to come. Although the replay is going to be available and you get it as part of your ticket, your $9 ticket, I would strongly encourage you to come live, turn up live on the Zoom if you possibly can. It's just way more fun to do it together live, and there's going to be ample opportunity to engage with me and get my thoughts and input, as well as to get inspired by maybe what some of your peers are saying in the chat. I'll be on hand throughout to lead you through the exercise, and I'll be taking and answering questions all the way through about, anything questions you've got about the obstacles and how to move forward. I really love doing live Q&A. It's one of my favourite things. So please don't be shy and ask questions as we go through. And if you've got any queries now, feel free to bring them along to the party on Wednesday. So again, to pick up your ticket, simply head to examstudyexpert.com/party. PARTY. And if you're listening to this episode in the future, after March 22nd has gone by, you can still go to that same web address to purchase the replay. The price will almost certainly have gone up a little bit, but it should be still relatively inexpensive, and I'm sure still remain excellent value. So head to, again, examstudyexpert.com/party. You guys, Exam Study Expert listeners, are a wonderful bunch of humans from what I've seen of you so far. I've had the privilege of meeting really quite a lot of you now via my either coaching work or in some cases recording the student story episodes with you. And I genuinely couldn't be more excited to bring the community together for the first time in a live event so that we can hang out together, help each other out, move forward towards our study goals, and therefore filling your deepest why, your why to study, whatever that may be for you. So once again, that's examstudyexpert.com/party to grab your ticket. Look forward to seeing you there. For now, wishing you every success, as always, in your studies.
If you've got exams coming up, you can now get all of William's favourite tips and tricks to save you time and get you higher grades, all in one handy cheat sheet. Grab your copy at examstudyexpert.com/free tips. Thanks again for listening, and see you soon.